Do you ever feel like you're living a boring life? If so, it's probably because you are living such an interesting life. I know that might sound stupid, but give me a second to explain. This is what life looks like. Except this isn't actually what life looks like. This is what we want our lives to look like by what we have been shown in the media. We want it to feel like a Hollywood movie, so we then start to pursue these things that have promised happiness as they have clearly worked for other people. And it does make you feel happy in the moment. Those times when you go out to meet a group of friends, there's a good vibe, you're talking and laughing with each other, the time flies by and all your worries seem to disappear. And then it's over. You are left back at home on your own and you are flooded with all your negative emotions. Except they are way more painful than before. All that remain now of the experience is an overwhelming sense of emptiness. To navigate through the confusion of why this happens, it is crucial we understand how dopamine works. It is the primary culprit of why you feel depressed. Dopamine is responsible for feelings like pleasure, motivation, and reward, and is crucial for happiness. When we experience something good, like playing video games or watching a film, the reason it feels pleasurable is because we have just released a large amount of dopamine in our brains. The issue is, we don't have infinite amounts of dopamine at any given time. The large spike therefore has emptied what you had stored in your brain, leaving you with even less than you had before you indulged in the activity. To clarify, before the activity, you were at your baseline. During the activity, you had a peak in dopamine, and after, you then had a dip. So what's wrong with that? And what has it got to do with living an interesting life? If you are chasing these high dopamine activities all the time, eating a sugary cereal in the morning while scrolling on your phone to then go off to work, listening to music throughout, only to come back home and further reward yourself with some greasy food while sitting in front of the TV or gaming. These things done on a regular basis start to cause lower and lower dopamine peaks as you build up a tolerance, making them less enjoyable over time, bringing down your baseline level. In other words, how you feel when you have nothing to stimulate you is far worse than someone who doesn't do any of these activities, and despite lower peaks, the dips you get afterwards actually get larger and larger, getting you to the point where you need the activity just to reach your baseline, never mind a dopamine high. And like I said before, one of the most important things dopamine is associated with is motivation. As a result, you are in a consistent state of demotivation, and the only way you can restore this quickly is by turning on your Xbox. Even then, the motivation and pleasure you will feel is wasted on a virtual world of fake rewards. You are effectively trying to succeed in life on hard mode by doing this. No amount of playing the games you play or watching the films you watch will turn you into those characters on your screen that you look up to so much. You have to achieve real things to gain real status. The problem is you most likely cannot achieve those real things because you are too demotivated and are constantly faced with a cascade of negative emotions. And I've got good and bad news for you. The bad news is that it's going to suck really, really badly for the first week if you want to fix this. The good news, however, is that if you get through the first week, I can guarantee that it will change your life. And I know people throw around that phrase a lot on YouTube, but it really will. As some bonus good news, because it will suck so much for the first week, most people won't do it, giving you a priceless comparative advantage over 95% of the people in the Western world. Unlike what the dopamine detox tells you, we want dopamine, and a lot of it, although we only want it in a controlled way. The same way you can lower your baseline through high stimulation activities, you can also raise it over time doing only low stimulation activities. This means that your normal state will be far more motivated and happy than you were before, and these feelings will last for a much larger proportion of the day. Due to the nature of dopamine, when you do have your dips, as they will also still follow after a low stimulation activity, it will only be a small amount below your baseline, meaning it won't completely derail your progress. This is something you will need to commit to. It is not a 24-hour challenge. To fully get over your dopamine addiction, which many people do have, it can take up to a month to get rid of. A sign of a dopamine addiction is if you find yourself automatically craving and picking up your phone when you find yourself with nothing to do. So here are the rules. No alcohol, no video games, no Netflix, no watching the hub, no junk food. Here's what you do instead of these things. Pursue a passion you have, read, meditate, cook healthy food, exercise, try out cold exposure, hang out with friends in a healthy social situation, and go outside. This isn't a definitive list, but should give you an idea of what things you should and shouldn't be doing. Making exceptions for the bad activities you want to avoid won't damage your progress too much, but as long as they remain as exceptions. By that, I mean less than once a week. But no exceptions at all is usually better. In no world does eating junk food on occasion make you more balanced. It is the complete opposite. Your need to always pursue something dopaminergic is what's keeping you unhappy. Your brain is adapted to sort out things that release large amounts of dopamine, such as killing an animal for food so your family can eat, or acquiring a mate. We aren't meant to be able to get the equivalent dopamine release with things that are so easy to acquire. It's the convenience that gets you hooked in the first place. It has never been as important as it is today to cultivate discipline.